was courtesy of my wife.
And to be fair, that's the corrected version of the joke that I've heard online. It says, "Why is there not a pregnant Barbie?" But there actually is.
There is.
We are now live.
Jesus Christ.
This is Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, Genesis, Season 3, Episode 8, Time After Time. And speaking of time, we are going to rewind the clock to back to the previous day, where we had a split party, and Jessica had scooped up the Polaroid images that had captured Laz's likeness, and was had gone with Amelia, and taken an ox cart with one of the logging carts driven by Mouse O'Connor to head up in search of everyone else who it was believed was on the sort of southwestern portion of the island. And during this trip, in an effort to there was a lot of difficulty in understanding and trying to bridge some communication gaps that ended with Amelia grabbing both Jessica's hand and Mouse's hand and serving as a conduit through which both Mouse and Jessica each saw some elements of each other's lives. Enough so that it felt like they had experienced those same things, including all of the crazy things that Jessica has experienced to date, and Jessica learning that Mouse had been here for a number of years and had sort of moved into her position at the logging camp when her father died. And we sort of pick right back up at that point where Mouse is looking incredulous. No, don't try a word. Don't try a word you don't fully know how to pronounce. She is looking dubiously at Jessica. As she has just explained, you're a time traveler? And she's just staring at you almost like she's looking at you, Jessica, like you have two heads.
Oh, that sounds like kind of nerdy when you say it like that.
She starts to say, I don't even know what that... Why do I know what that means?
She would know what that for sure if she saw Jessica's.
And she kind of looks at Amelia, who's still sort of holding her hand, and then she looks at you, and she kind of does this, like, ew! And she drops down off of the seat to the ox cart, and she's just kind of pacing back and forth. Kind of, you can't really hear her saying anything in particular. She's just kind of mumbling, and kind of throwing her hands in the air, and Amelia just turns to you, Jessica, and goes, "Oh, if I'm being honest, that went a little bit better than I thought it would."
I mean, I said that I wanted her to see everything, so that, yeah.
So, about that, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know how I got it, but I can touch objects usually, and I just sort of know their history. I know where they come from. I know what their purpose is. And I only just recently learned that I can do it with people. So, honestly, that's the first time I've done that. Connecting two people like that.
I mean, that's really impressive. When could you start doing this?
This is me, the DM, thinking, because it's been weeks and weeks. I'm trying to figure out how much time it's been for you since you were... Oh, okay. This is the same day that you opened the door, Jessica, and caused this whole kerfuffle.
Caused it. No.
As Amelia says, it was actually this morning when you and your friends were at the lighthouse. I was helping your friend Kenny Coop. I know now his name is Kenneth Cooper. He was sorting through some of the stuff, and I put my hand on his shoulder, and suddenly I could just see everything. And you see she kind of almost subconsciously cradles her right hand and rubs the wrist, and she goes, and I felt some things too. I don't know why this just started like this, but now I know, at least from talking to, well, I call it talking to objects, but talking to Coop and now you and Mouse, I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, some of us have cooler powers than others. Some of us got like the short end of the stick, I would say, but that's not the point.
But why? Why do we have these abilities?
You see Jessica is like where's Oak when you need him? Well, wait, and she holds out her hand to Amelia. Can't you just like learn it from me, from my thoughts?
She kind of looks at you like, I've never tried it while like this. You mean like you would think about it and...
Yeah, why not? Let's try it. She like holds out her arm. It's way easier than me trying to explain it all.
She turns in the seat. She was sort of sitting on the middle of the seat. She turns so she's kind of facing you, and she goes, okay, let me try to be a little more deliberate about this. And she holds both of her hands up like this in front of you. And touch my hands.
Jessica looks to either hand before slowly raising up hers and putting them against Amelia's.
Make me a grit check.
Oh
boy.
Don't die.
Well,
Here we go.
What'd you get?
Grit is fine. I got an 8.
An 8.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check. That's going to be... I say opposed. It's not like a versus thing, but it kind of is. I'm going to roll grit for Amelia, who's rolling a d12. Okay. So, as you connect hands, you touch hands, you start to see your own memories as you're sort of focusing on all of the things that have to do with when you and the others gain powers and when you found out about the powers. But you're kind of, there's a weird feedback going where you're seeing it because Amelia's concentrating on it. You're seeing it through her eyes and her perception. So you're seeing it with both your knowledge of how these things happen, but almost like it gives you a new perspective on it. It gives you this momentary ability to literally see something from a different point of view, to see something from somebody else's perspective. And you see these flashes of when you passed through the vehicle, and you see and sort of feel this momentary, and this might, as I'm thinking back on this might be the first time Jessica is becoming fully aware of this. Amelia, while you focused on the passing through the vehicle that was running towards you, Amelia focuses on the fact that you passed through people and what happened to those people. And you're seeing that from a different perspective. And you're seeing the three people that were, the three Nexus agents that were killed during that incident. Because you succeeded on the grit versus grit, you don't have any sort of physical reaction to that. But again, you see the incident with Billy on the beach, wolfing out, and we see the car accident with Rosie. We see Laz being struck by lightning and absorbing it all outside the lighthouse in 1885, while surrounded by a myriad Jessicas. And we see Coop communicating telepathically with I think the incident that sort of rises is when you were in the first iteration, when you were all at the lumberyard and construction sites, where you had the encounter with the Nexus agents. Ashley and Coop had been specifically communicating with Persephone. And then, of course, we see Oak's ability to manipulate time. And the most prescient version of that, of course, would be when Oak absorbed some of all of your powers and brought you all here to 1855. Go ahead and make me a brains roll as these incidents are playing out.
Brains, okay.
Brains.
Five.
Ooh. 5 is a good number.
Solid
Mm-hmm.
5.
So, there is a moment, Jessica, as you're deliberately thinking about each of your powers, as if you were telling the story to somebody to try to bring them up to speed. But because you're doing it mentally, one, you're able to do it much quicker, and two, you're able to not only not leave out certain details, you sort of create or communicate additional details that even you might not have thought to talk about. And what you notice is, in between each of these flashes, as we move from Rosie and to Billy to Laz to Coop to Oak, in between each one of these, we see a flash of Jessica looking in a mirror. Jessica looking in a mirror. And they start sort of, anytime it's like a scene switch, it's almost like a single frame being inserted. And the last couple of these deliberate memories you're sharing, you notice they're flipped. Where you remember the car, and that you were moving from east to west based on the road. The car's flipped around, the driver's on the wrong side of the car, and you pass through it and emerge facing a completely different direction, though everything looks the same but slightly different. And then it's like it sort of and flips back to normal. And then you sort of, it's Amelia who kind of breaks the contact with you. Oh. Wow. You all have abilities and none of them are the same.
Does that surprise you that they're not all the same?
I don't think surprise, it's... I don't know. I guess I just find it interesting that even with what I can do, we're all different. We're all have unique abilities. And they don't really seem to go together. But it seems like you think that this Nexus organization is responsible for this.
Yeah, they've been a real pain.
And it's about that point where you feel the movement of the cart, and Mouse climbs up and sort of before sitting down is standing up, kind of towering over the two of you, and says, okay, all right, I've had a few moments to myself.
I'm sorry, I love her so much. She's like, I've got it on lock now. I'm good.
I've had a few moments to myself, and there are things that, look, I want to say I don't understand what in the hell is happening, but for some reason I understand it. I don't get it, but I understand it, and I don't know why I understand it, but I now know a whole lot more about so much that I never would have thought about. And the only thing I can think to help me cope with this is what I know. And that's this cart and these oxen and getting you back to your friends. Because even though I feel like I know you and your friends, though I've never met them, all I know is I want to get you to them so I can leave you with them. And try to go back to doing what I do without having to think about any of this. And when I get back to camp, I intend to drink as much as it takes to forget.
Plan.
I just wanted you to be ready for whatever you may see when we get to my friends.
No. Nope. Not right now. And she sits down and she kind of firmly puts her foot on the buckle. No, not the buckle. The dashboard thing. Buckboard. That's what I wanted to say. And she takes up the reins and she just, let's go, and starts calling out, and the cart starts to move. Somewhere as you are traversing this distance, you do hear another less violent, if that's the right word, but you do hear another loud and mysterious roar. We're going to shift both in scene and in time as we head back to the next day, the next morning, as we head to the cavern where well, Rosie, you are holding this compass with the engraving with the name Jacob Thorgarn Talmud, as Em is very confused right now.
Yep. Welcome. Somebody screenshot that. That's going to be a delight.
As you look down at Sophie, who is just looking at the now empty diver suit that, 20 minutes before she helped her father suit up and he stepped through the portal, and this was all you were able to pull back. The rest of you, some of you were helping to reel this in, and you are all standing around seeing this scene. But Rosie, having just picked up that compass, I think is probably the closest. What are you all doing as you look down on this scene and the now distraught and sobbing Sophie?
Coop is standing there stunned, holding this still slightly smoking postcard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right.
Yes.
And he looks over at Oak and says, "It was him."
Okay. Oh, wow.
But it's deep. We'll get to that. Sophie, Sophie, are you okay?
Sophie is openly sobbing. Tears are just pouring down her face. Her nose is running, and she's just holding onto, just cradling the what was the helmet, or what the helmet that her father was wearing. And she's just sort of cradling this empty helmet, and she's kind of rocking back and forth, and then she just kind of looks up through tears at the portal.
Sophia, I know it's not much, but he hands the postcard to her and says, "He's okay. He just went somewhere else." And Coop's going to try to project some of his memories of his dad to her.
Oh, wow. God.
Some of your memories of...
My memories, not the suck-ass memories of my dad. Like the good memories of my dad from like when I was little and he looked a little bit younger than, more like she remembers him.
Right.
Oh.
Go ahead and make a...
Is this a power roll or a charm roll?
No, it's not going to be a power roll. This falls into the category of base level use of your power. This is something you can do without rolling. I would like to roll brains or charm, your choice.
Charm, please.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, the charm. That one, please, charm. Yes.
4 versus a 20. Come on.
For lucky charms.
Holy shit buckets. 18.
Oh, whatever's about to happen isn't that good. Damn right it's not. Let's go.
You What give us one specific memory that would be a cherished Coop memory that you share with Sophie. Communicate this.
Ironically, it's what is it? It's a memory of being in a lake and Dad trying to teach little Coop how to swim and failing miserably. Like doing the whole like, okay, I've got you, and Coop with his little water wings on and like trying, and then he lets go, and then Coop just kind of under the water.
Oh, God. And he gets him, he's like, it's the worst.
For some reason, in my mind, as this memory is being shared between the two of you, it appears to us, the audience, like a like Super 8 film, or like an old one of those big clunky VHS camcorders.
Reel.
But we're definitely seeing it. It's very very grainy. The speed is a little bit off, but the message is communicated, and as those memories kind of flood into her, we see that memory alter a bit, and we see the same man about maybe 5 years younger than even you saw him today. We see a young Sophie standing in the waves of Lake Michigan, as minus the water, the little arm water wings, he's doing the exact same thing for Sophie. And you catch something that you've not had really. Maybe you've caught inklings of this before, but for the first time in full awareness, you not only see this communication, you feel Sophie's emotion turn from abject grief tinged with anger to disbelief and awe, and then the realization of the relationship the two of you share. And in this moment, without words, Sophie drops the helmet, tears still streaming down her face. She stands up and she throws her arms around you. And she pulls you in and she holds you tight.
Oh.
And I just imagine this scene with the brightness of the shifting colors of the crystals and this rift of this portal happening. You all see, sort of behind them, you all see Coop and Sophie embracing as if they were long separated, siblings. To be fair, though, none of you really. I think only one maybe of you knows this.
Only Oak knows.
Yeah, only Oak knows the true nature of the relationship.
I think Rosie is like just having a hard time with all the feelings, and so she kind of actually like walks away a little bit and kind of goes to find Laz and hands him this compass and just says, like, hands it to him with the inscription like up, and just asks, like, I don't know what this means.
Oh, that the suit came back empty, but like it's not torn or damaged at all. He's just gone.
Yeah, don't know. I don't know how we can help. I don't know what we can do.
I think trying to go after him is a big mistake.
I do too. I think, and I kind of like nod over to the littles who are clearly leading with their hearts right now. And be like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think we need to kind of be the adults in the room here.
Right. So maybe we need to go back to the cabin.
I think we need to go back to the cabin and regroup and just kind of make a plan, a reasonable plan that's slightly less dangerous than all the other plans.
Okay.
I mean, we can't do anything until we know where Jess is. Like, we can't just be going in through portals unless we're a full complement, you know?
Jess didn't go through the door with all of you back at the lighthouse.
Correct. But what I'm saying is, like, we're already separated. We can't risk getting further separated. Like,
yeah, no, I think that's smart. Yeah, we should probably, like you said, we got to go back to the cabin. Maybe we can figure out something. I don't know, but I think staying here I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
We need to get out of here.
I think so too. Okay, and I think Rosie would kind of like go back towards Coop and Amelia.
Sophie.
Or no, Sophie. Sorry, I forget all the girl names. And Rosie would just kind of be like, guys, I think we should get out of here.
So Billy is leaning off to the side, kind of watching, a little in shock, as Sophie's dad, doesn't come back through the portal, and for a moment, like, he just stands in this, little bit of stupor as he watches, Coop try to make it feel better, and then Rosie go over and have this conversation, and like, he's been fixated on, like, trying to be a leader and helpful, in this situation, and it always just seems that things keep turning south, and he takes this moment, and what should be, oh my God, remorse and sadness, and like, he just like furrows his brow and is fighting the anger and ire from from coming up, and he kind of hears Rosie and Laz talk off to the side about having to get everybody together and be the adults, and he just steps out of the cave.
Coop.
He doesn't go anywhere beyond the cave.
No.
But
Coop, as Rosie says this about going back to the cabin, leaving, you feel, while you're still embracing Sophie, you feel a sudden rush of fear and anger from Sophie. And Sophie turns and looks at you, Rosie, and kind of wiping her eyes, and she goes, We can't go. We can't go anywhere right now. We've got to fix this, and we got to go after him. You got to help me find my dad.
Sophie,
and she turns.
We're going to.
She turns to Coop and she goes, "You got to help me find our dad."
I'm gonna do what I can to help.
And Sophie immediately starts walking over and picking up pieces of equipment that have fallen over. She's lifting like this heavy pedestal thing and kind of standing it upright, and there's a few sparks, and she starts grabbing at cables and wires and connections and trying to piece things back together. She's throwing switches, resetting things.
Rosie kind of sighs and wants to go over and like kind of like take her by the arm or like by the shoulders, or like Sophie, we're going to try to help. But we can't do anything right now. We have other people that we need to get with us. We need to be a group. We need to be unified. We got to come up with a plan first. And I by this time I probably have like kind of grabbed her by the arm.
Charm.
Okay. Here I go. Charming. So charming. Here I go. 4. Oh.
She, as you try to grab her arm, she just keeps pulling away. She's like, I've got to get everything fixed. I know you want to wait for your friend, but I need to be reunited with Dad.
Sophie, it's not just that. We need a plan. Otherwise, this whole thing could go belly up. We need to be smart about this.
We don't know where that goes, and like if you go, then that leaves Mr. Grumpy Pants here without anybody to like feed him and take care of him. And what do you think's going to happen if nobody feeds Mr. Grumpy Pants?
I know where it went. It went to,
and I already gave her the postcard.
I know where it went. It went to my hometown, Seattle, in 1972. I don't know if it's going to go there again, though.
That would be too easy. It wouldn't go there.
Like, if it works at all like the Doors did back home, who could say?
Right. Which is why we can't just go now.
Maybe whenever we find Jess, if we can't figure out what else to do, maybe we can all, I don't know, hold hands or tie a rope between us or something, and all go through together.
Let's make a charm.
That's
Come on,
one of the
buddy.
good ones.
Come on, buddy. Be so charming right now.
Okay, exploded. A 5.
Okay, before I roll this, I have to check a thing. Don't know where they put the strengths in this book.
While Jake's trying to find his strength, check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we got all kinds of great shirts like the one Jeremy is wearing and so many more. You can get our cool logos on t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, stickers, mugs, and all kinds of other great swag. Teespring.com. Just click the link in the description for this video.
You can't get Jeremy's anymore, but it is
Oh
a
my
throwback.
God, get it. So get
It
the
is a
ones that are
throwback to
available now
Talmud,
before they're
though.
gone. Yeah, right.
Sophie rolls a 2 on charm, but is using her lucky strength, which allows her to re-roll. It explodes. $10 to your 5. She looks at you, Laz, and she looks at you, Rosie. I have to set everything back up. I have to reset all these controls before anybody can even attempt to go through. And she holds this postcard up, and you now see the postcard that's partially burned that says Seattle, Washington, 1972. If this is when Dad went, I can figure out the adjustments to make. You have until I get this figured out, or I'm going through by myself. And she just sets that postcard, kind of tucks it into one of the pieces of machinery, and she just starts moving around. She actually goes over and starts pulling apart the components of the modified dive suit and bringing them back to the wardrobe where they were hanging. And she just goes about busying herself. With having failed that charm check by that much, this is the video game equivalent of if you try to talk to her, you can still try to talk to her if you want. But
Sophie is busy.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's kind of like Sophie. Now. Sophie is busy. Not now. I've said all I have to say.
I told you, I have to get the machinery set back up.
Come talk to me.
Leave me alone.
So Jake, what kind of cave is this? Is this like, is this like a full-on like rocky entrance, or is this more like a hole into a hill and it's all dirt and what have you?
Do you want to roll your stone cunning?
Wrong character.
Hell yeah.
This is, give me a moment. Where did it go? This was part of
That was such a good throwback too.
That's funny.
Okay. Oh, hold on. It might be, did I put that on a different? Oh, there we go. It's a different document. So the cave was described as having a jagged, it yawns open in the side of this cliff, beneath a jagged overhang. The entrance is partially obscured by creeping ivy and gnarled roots from the trees up above. There's a lot of sand around, but it looks like a sand dune covering a sort of traditional rocky mountain cavern.
It's got a bunch of cool crystals in it.
Yeah,
like
with a bunch of cool
cave.
crystals in it.
All right, I want to do something I've never done before. So anytime I've transformed, it has been full transformations, and I know that the full moon is coming, so it's possibly laying into why this is getting my ire up when it really shouldn't be. I should be compassionate and helping the little 11-year-old, but I look at it as just one more frustration, one less adult that could possibly do something to help us. So I want to see if I can do a partial transformation. I want to, I look at my hand and I want to see if I can just turn my hand into a claw and just scratch at this, rocky cliff.
Okay. That is going to be a power token usage. While you were describing that, I calculated the DC to be a DC 8. You get one free power token.
Yep. That's my freebie. I'm at a 4. So I used one, rolled 2 dice and I have an 8.
So with that 8, you kind of strain a little bit as you focus on this hand, and you're straining so hard you feel the very beginnings of a headache, and then you watch as your fingers all elongate in your thumb, and you see those nails harden and grow longer into claws, and you see the hair grow and partially up your arm, and you have one wolf claw.
All right, and I just to test it out, I scratch at the.
Is this is this like an experimental scratch? Is this an anger scratch? What's going on?
Anger.
So yeah, you take a swipe at the rock, and there's a there's a sudden spray of sparks. And then as you swipe and you look back at where you swiped, there's these jagged lines of very shallow, but you've marked the stone.
I feel satisfied and vindicated, at that, like literally marking this place, not so much as completely claiming territory, but I feel like, this is someone at some point in time is going to see this, and it's not just going to go away. And I feel better about myself. And I just kind of look up at the sky, knowing that it's still early morning, but like longing for the moon. And I'll just kind of like chill there for a moment while I ponder.
Just see Billy sits down and kind of sits like the thinker with one werewolf hand.
Yeah, right. Oh. And he's like, ow. It's like bristly and like.
With that, I want to cut back to Jessica, Amelia, and Mouse on the trail heading towards that corner. Jessica, I would like you to roll me a brains check. And I'm going to also roll. Actually, I'm going to have two of you roll me. I want one person to roll a D8.
I will.
Two people are going to roll D8s.
Are these exploding like normal?
Yep. These are brains checks for Mouse and Amelia.
Oh my god! I got a 19. I exploded twice.
So I'm just naturally assuming that Carrie's rolling for Mouse.
Of course I am. I want us so bad to roll for Mouse.
I feel like there's an alt version of this game where Mouse is a character that Carrie plays.
Yes, 100%.
All right, who was rolling for Amelia?
Whoever else rolled.
Yeah, who was the other person that rolled?
I'll roll then.
Do it up. Get it, Ted.
That's a 12. I also exploded.
Oh my god, so smart.
Fantastic. And Jessica, what'd you get for your brains check?
4.
I laugh, but it stands to reason. Jessica, you are in an island that you've never been on before. I get the impression Jessica is not one who spends much time on ox carts in the forest. You're probably more concerned with how uncomfortable this ride has been. This is not something you or your body are accustomed to, Jessica. But with a 4, I think you would notice as Amelia and specifically Mouse, they both are kind of communicating to each other in whispers. And Mouse actually brings the cart slowly to a stop. And as that racket of the vibration of the cart and the wooden and steel banded wheels going over the rough terrain of this path, that all of that stops, you're suddenly left, Jessica, with that silence. After having listened to this for the last hour, it's just silent. And Amelia kind of puts her hand on your leg and then looks at you and just with wide eyes a little bit, and then she just goes. And Mouse reaches behind the seat that you're sitting on, and she pulls a rifle out. The rifle actually, you can see, has a cylinder in it. It's a revolver. It's an old, I forget now the model. Colt. It's a Colt. Craig and I both knew this model, so if you know it, you can throw it out there. I forgot to write it down, but it's a rifle with 6 shots in a revolving barrel. She takes the rifle out and she kind of looks at both of you and she just goes, and it's at this point, even with your 4, Jessica, you don't have the awareness of what spooked the 2 of them, but you notice it is really quiet in the wake of the wagon. Too quiet. There's no birds chirping. There's no sound of animals in the forest. It's just the occasional creak of the trees, whisper of wind through the branches. Amelia reaches into her interior pocket of the shirt that she wears, and she pulls out a leather pouch, and you see as she sets this, she actually kind of just reaches out and nudges Amelia, who holds her hand out, and with trembling hand, Mouse empties this leather pouch into Amelia's hands, and you see several silver bullets, and she sets the pouch down and she breaks the rifle opener, opens the revolver cartridge out. I'm not quite sure how this model
she loads the gun.
Yeah, this 1855 revolving shotgun, whatever it is, she adds the silver bullets into this rifle, and then perhaps the most surprising thing that she does, she hands the rifle to Amelia. She leans in really close. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that you now had this shared connection between each other, this would be very uncomfortably close for somebody you just met. She speaks in a whisper so quiet, it's basically just the breath passing through her mouth. I can't do that because it'll get my mic probably won't pick it up. But what she whispers to you and Amelia is, stay here. Don't move. Try not to make a sound. If anything happens to me, empty the rifle into either one of them and drive the wagon out of here. And Amelia,
I'm quitting this game.
What?
I said if Mouse dies, I'm quitting. I will not play with you anymore.
Mouse dies, we riot.
Mouse dies, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
She then turns and dismounts from the wagon, and she starts walking up the path. And you notice now that in this area, Jessica, the trees are a lot taller. They've been steadily getting taller, but now they're, as you have a chance in the quiet to look around, these are really tall, really big old trees. And As Mouse walks up ahead of you, she walks to just where there's a little bit of the path crests a little bit of a rise. And she doesn't look back at you. She just gives a wave to somebody unseen and moves past that rise to where you can't see her anymore. And in the quiet, you faintly hear Mouse's voice. Wasn't expecting to see you today, Mr. Stapler and Mr. Van Houten.
Ooh, oh.
And that's where we're going to take a break.
They're both here? Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh,
Ruh-roh,
shit.
Raggy.
This is a problem. We're in danger.
When are we not in danger?
Right?
That's a good point. Great point.
All right.
Salient.
With that, we are going to take about a 10-minute break. We'll see you on the other side. And we're back. We join the rest of the gang back at the cavern. Knowing that Sophie, blanked on her name for a minute, knowing that Sophie is determined to stay here and get everything reset, we do sort of open on her. She's not, you all can see that Sophie is not just haphazardly putting things back together and adjusting switches. One, you can tell from everything she's done since first coming down here that she's had a very prominent role in helping her dad build all of this stuff. And she doesn't necessarily understand all of the mechanical nature of everything per se, but she has on the inside of this sort of closet wardrobe thing where the dive suit now hangs, there is a poster-sized diagram. It looks like it's pieced together from several pieces of paper, a couple of which have Nexus logos on them. So you know it's from salvaged pages from things that came through the portal. And there are 3 distinct drawings on this poster that look like they were variations on assembly order and what things go which way. And you see that they are 2 of them are crossed out. And you can tell from looking at it in the order of it that it was organized, like they tried it one way, then they tried it a second way, they tried it a third way, and somewhere along the line realized that 3 and 2 didn't work. And so you see at the top of this, there's a big red circle around the first one, and they're labeled Figure 1, Figure 2, and Figure 3, or abbreviated Fig 1, Fig 2, Fig 3. And she's referencing this document as she's going back and making all of the connections. And just to hit that visual Easter egg home, right next to this is a box of scrap metal.
Oh,
that
God.
is exactly the very first box of scrap metal that we first saw in Dawnbringers when Fig showed up in season 2. There's no other way to convey that than to specify it, but
and which one was Prometheus?
Figure 2.
Amazing. So,
Sorry,
are we all seeing this?
sorry.
Who's seeing all the blueprints?
I misspoke.
All of us?
It's figure 2 that's it's Fig. It's Fig. The one that's circled.
Thank you.
That was the point. But anyway, she's very deliberately piecing things together. So what are the rest of you doing as she's doing this? Specifically Oak. We haven't heard from you yet.
Yeah, I think that Oak was going to encourage the union between Coop and Sophie anyways, and that worked out in his favor. And I think that while all of this is going on, there's this moment where he's kind of torn and he's so invested. Like, getting an opportunity to go see like a Jules Verne museum piece or something like that, he's so invested in seeing like the contraptions and all of the mechanical pieces that like he's almost situationally blind at the moment, because he can hear the conversation between Rosie and Laz, and like he can hear the guttural growling from Billy as he's like transforming and scratching against the wall, but none of that matters because he is face blind to the littles only. He's like focusing on Coop, focusing on Sophie, and then when Sophie starts moving, he like looks to you 3 older kids as if like torn between a rock and a hard place, and he immediately swaps to start helping Sophie, because to him, either way, we're going to help her. So might as well start doing what I know best and help. So he goes, hey, so I don't know how all this was pieced together, but I'm willing to help you put it back if you'll have me.
By way of acknowledgement,
Yep.
she is carrying a box of what you might recognize to be vacuum tubes, and she just hands the box to you, turns to a panel, opens it, and starts pulling out blown vacuum tubes and tossing them over her shoulder, and then just holding a hand up to you.
Yep. Just assembly lining at this point. Mm-hmm. So as much as he wants to leave, I think he's gonna look to Coop. Coop, if you wanna go with the rest of them and wait for the rest of them to come, I don't mind, but I can't just leave her in here to do this alone. So no matter what, we're gonna do this. I gotta stay.
I understand if that's what you want to do. I'd stay too, but I'd probably not be very helpful.
What do you... Hold on, wait a minute. What do you mean? Buddy...
I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, Oak, I'm kind of dumb.
Listen, do you think that that's all that matters right now?
I mean...
He puts down the box and he's like literally gonna come over and he's just gonna put a hand on your shoulder for a second. Listen, if anything right now, Sophie needs her brother. Right now. You can't leave her to do this. Look, I understand that all of them don't want us to do it, and I get it.
Well,
it makes sense.
No, you're right. You're right, Oak. As hard as it's gonna be for Jake for us to split the party again, I think.
Who the fuck is Jake?
I think that.
Wait.
I think that.
Jake the boyfriend?
I want to.
No, I don't think he's gonna care. Like, how is that relevant? I don't even.
I think I do want to stay with you. I can always help out looking after Grumpy Pants, as long as he doesn't eat me.
If I tell you what, here, just plus, and he kind of looks down. Is the Nintendo Power Glove still wrapped in that?
It's
like,
still wrapped in mud and
muck?
wrapped in a garbage bag.
Both of you make a brains check, please.
Oh
Okay.
dear. Or no.
Oh, actually, okay, hold on.
2.
Wait a minute.
Le dos.
23.
Good lord.
23. Yeah, I rolled a nat 20 and then a 3 on that one.
So as you look down at the mud hand, I think as Tamiko referred to it,
Mud hand.
you sort of realize, Oak, that it's probably been wrapped long enough, given what treatment you had previously provided in the wake of what was happening with the weird ooze that was coming out of it. But you also kind of, I think there's a part of you that's thinking about something you said previously. You realized previously when you realized that this portal and the spring were nexus points. That your powers and abilities might be stronger here. And all you know is you need to unwrap Coop's hand.
Okay, here. He looks to Sophie. Can I borrow this real quick? And he's grabbing like a small hammer, right? Like just a small hammer to like chisel away the mud cat.
Wait, are we
and
sure
then
it's
he'll-
safe?
Well, there's only one way to find out, right? And you're gonna need to have that to help us, I think. So just lay your hand on the box here and then just brace yourself, okay? 1, 2. And I'm gonna take a strike at the mud cast and break it open.
It just crumbles into powder because it's mud, not plaster.
Yep.
I think you give it a couple of taps and it sort of partially crumbles, but just splits into big chunks and falls away. And what is revealed is an impossibly gleaming, almost brand new looking, minus a few scratches and dings that are there from your adventures. But also the sort of Tron-like circuitry that was going along Coop's fingers and up his arm are not only lit up, but they're sort of going like movement of electrons, it seems like.
Like more so than they used to?
Like they're lit up more than previously. They're
See what I mean?
in the power glove itself. The power button, the power light shows that it's on. It's clean and looks to be functional and generating its own power.
I need you here, buddy. So,
Okay. I'm gonna go tell Rosie and Laz, and I don't know where Billy went.
Oh, I've got a fun question, not for this exact second, Jake. What happened to Ashley?
Good question.
We
That's a
forgot all
great
about
question.
her.
Ashley
Not-
Maven is still in the cabin, probably. She's like, I don't even want to be with y'all.
Like,
right
fuck
now.
you, people. Oh yeah, she was unconscious.
Yeah.
Nope,
So
she was
yeah,
awake.
Ashley's with us.
She was awake
I would-
in the morning.
So
So she came with us.
I think as Coop says, where's Billy? I think that would probably be, quite an ironic time for him to come wandering back to the group. But I think he still has the claw, unless it, fades on its own.
So it's important to note, as Jamiko asked this question, Ashley is not in the cave with you.
She was awake in the morning?
She was awake in the morning.
She was in the cabin with us earlier.
The cabin?
Or not the cabin, the cave. She was
yes,
in the cave.
She came down with you all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
She is not around.
God.
She is not with you.
And she was how old in this iteration?
15.
15.
So if she went back to 1976? 72. So that might...
She would be about
make her like her late
13,
20s.
12, 13 years older than she was now.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh.
Oofda.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, so Coop is going to find the others. Billy wanders in as Coop's wondering where Billy went. As Coop, you go looking for the others. We're going to stick with Oak for a moment. As Sophie takes the last of the vacuum tubes from you, puts it in place and kind of puts the panel back on. She stands up and flips a couple switches and moves a couple dials, and there's a pulsing that takes place in the portal itself. Just a little bit of a in reaction to these switches, and some of the crystals in the cavern shift just a little flicker. I need Laz and Oak to make a couple of rolls for me. I need Oak to make I want you to make a brains check first. Laz, I need you to roll a D100.
Did you say brains check?
Yes,
From Oak.
please.
So that's a 16.
Okay.
I got a 54. Hoss.
$54. Uneasy stability. Oak, with that 16, you recognize that as this flickering happens, your attention is drawn to the portal momentarily. And you realize that it's one of those, like, you kind of look at it and you look away and then you kind of look back. And given now this is a little anachronistic to your character, but you as a player, I'm pretty sure will recognize this. The fascination that the portal holds for you right now is the same fascination as when the doctor discovered the crack in the wall. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, the second thing I need you to do is make a grit check. Yes, you. Actually, I want Laz to make a grit check too. Following this 54 that I'm only going to tell you means uneasy stability for right now.
Same roll chart, same.
Right.
I got a 19.
Okay. So as you kind of, whatever you're doing in this space, Laz, you notice that anytime you walk past any of these crystals, they glow brighter when you are near them, and you feel an exchange wanting to happen. With this 19 grit, or 16 or whatever it was you rolled, it's high enough that you are able to prevent it from happening involuntarily, but it feels like a combination of these crystals want to both siphon some of this absorbed power that you took, but some of the crystals want to give you power. So you prevent it from happening involuntarily. There's nothing to stop you from giving into it and doing so voluntarily if you chose to. So first I want to see what you do, Laz, before we get to Oak's 2 for grit.
So yeah, I think any of the ones where he feels like a positive flow, like where it feels like it's trying to give energy, I think he's going to try to open that channel.
Okay.
You know, just a little. You like test the faucet, if you will.
So what happens when you do this is you realize, though maybe Laz doesn't fully understand it, maybe he does, depends on how much you paid attention in science class. These crystals are resonating at different frequencies, and they are attempting to tune with you. There's a certain harmonic that's happening that is almost musical.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's music for him, not chemistry at all.
And so what is happening is you are gaining, because of that success, you are gaining an ability to rough tune to the harmonic frequencies of these crystals. What this means is anytime, make a note of this, but anytime I ask you in relation to these crystals or this portal to roll a d10, you will roll 2d10 instead. That'll make sense when this should happen in the future, but because you are able to understand the initial aspects of this frequency tuning, it's going to give you a bonus d10, and that's going to be important.
Okay.
Simultaneously, Oak, as you are suddenly being drawn into this portal, this, at least in terms of curiosity and fascination, you feel the portal is exerting some kind of influence over you.
Uh-oh.
This portal, because you are essentially a time anomaly, and this portal is a conduit for time, you're sensing there's more to it than that. This portal might have an intelligence.
Ooh. Is it a good portal or a bad portal?
Hey, like looking as if the doctor looking at the crack in the wall. Hey, Sophie? Did your dad have any logs on the portal and like how it functions?
She just points over to where that wardrobe without the door, where the poster is and where the dive suit is. And where that is, there's sort of a makeshift desk nearby. There's a scattering of papers. And she says he had some journals over there where he made some observations.
Okay, second question. During any of that time, has it ever felt like, I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing things. Has it ever felt like alive to you?
I've She actually stops what she's doing for a moment. Not the portal itself. I mean, the crystals, they're like living rocks. They grow and they have some kind of power in them, and it's related to the portal. I don't know about the portal itself, but the crystals, I would say, are probably some level of awake.
Okay. He like takes a step over to see if like he can kind of sift through the paperwork while she's working on another project. He's going to try to sift through those papers
as she walks,
see if he can get any details.
Or as you walk over there, she does say, I don't know if this is what you mean, but whenever Dad was working on his notes or building things, sometimes I would just sit here and stare at it.
Oh God.
And I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes I feel like it feels familiar. There's a familiarity about it that I don't understand.
Yeah, I understand that. Like the comfort you'd get from like a nightlight?
No, this is more like the fear of darkness.
Okay, completely opposite direction, but sure.
It's familiar, but not at all comforting.
Okay. Are you sure that you that it was smart for us to go through that? For us to try it?
Whether it's smart or not, I don't have a choice. I have to find my dad.
Hey, no, I get it, but if we're gonna do it, I want to make sure you're safe. Okay? So, I'll go through these, and then anything that I can help you with, just ask, and I'm right there. And I'm gonna sit at the table and kind of sort through the logs a little bit to see if I can get a more detail before I just start Lego smashing this thing together and being like, yep, that's perfect, we're good.
Right.
It'll take us wherever we want to go.
I'm going to read the change logs on these manuals really quick.
Yeah, I need to know if there's any recalled parts on this piece real quick. Thanks.
So I would like, or rather, we're going to switch scenes in this moment to back to the day before with the ox cart and Amelia and Jessica. As Mouse disappears over the ledge, you are left there in silence with Amelia. What are you doing, Jessica?
Sorry, you know them? Their names? Like, Jessica's very concerned.
So, Mouse is... who are you? Are you talking to Amelia?
Amelia, yeah, because Mouse said, like, shoot them both. Like, I got the idea that they kind of knew who this was.
I mean, that's a fair assumption. She handed the gun to Amelia and said, if anything happens to me, empty the gun into both of them and then get out of here.
Yeah,
So in the wake of all of this silence, you just turn to Amelia and you go, so you know them?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Amelia whips her head at you wide-eyed and she just goes, quieter. They can hear. Yes.
How?
Mr. Stapler owns the logging camp. Actually, I think he owns the whole island.
You see the biggest eye roll from Jessica. Of course he does.
The last... Wait.
Nice.
You know? And you see her kind of look up for a moment, like she's remembering, and she goes, "But that's not the same stapler, is it?"
Well, it has to be like in the family. Like there's so many of them.
But what about the other man? He's only been here once before, and they always come to this side of the island. It's Von Van Houten.
Von Van Houten.
It's a new flavor of Van Houten.
No, that is not a new flavor of Van Houten. That is the Van Houten that Laz killed with lightning.
Like I said, he's allergic to lightning.
I didn't know either. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I couldn't remember. I'm sorry. I thought it was like Victor.
That's
Victor's the son.
Victor and Victoria are the teenage vampire children.
Yeah. So then, yeah, Jessica's like, yeah, and that one I might be in our time too. How do you know them? Why did Mouse say to shoot them both? And you have silver bullets. You can see like Jessica is like putting the pieces together as she's saying that of like, wait, you also know
it's all
this.
coming together.
Do you know? Did you know that before?
What
staplers are?
I didn't. I knew Mr. Stapler. And that he owns the whole island, basically. And that he is the one who's running the logging camp. And I know Mr. Van Houten as having come with him. From the lighthouse, we see all the comings and goings. But what I didn't understand the purpose of the silver bullets and the gun until Mouse and I exchanged knowledge. I don't know, other than that, why I know that one of them is a werewolf and one is a vampire. I don't know why I'm so comfortable with that fact, with that being the fact. I feel like knowing this should terrify me.
Yeah.
And maybe I am a little bit scared, but I also... And she kind of looks at you and she says, I feel safe with you. I know what you can do.
Listen, these are some pretty scary people. Who knows why they're here? Have they always? Hey, Jessica, like, how far away has Mouse?
I'd say
gone? Like,
I'd say Mouse went like maybe 50 to 70 meters, just over the crest of this hill. You can, if you listen, you can faintly hear the voices of two men.
Cool.
And occasionally Mouse.
Oh, okay. So then I think at that, Jessica wants to listen in at like what they're saying. So you see Jessica kind of stop suddenly talking to Amelia and drop off of the ox cart, and it's just gonna like slowly inch towards.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a flight check.
Oh boy.
Which is going to represent your ability to move quietly.
Flight. Okay.
It is. I feel important to remind you, you have 46 domain pops at your disposal.
Jess is gonna roll super high anyway. She's a fucking state 400-meter champion.
Okay, I did roll a 7, but I am gonna add 3 to make it a 10.
Okay.
Oh, smart.
So we'll go from 46 to 43.
10 feels good.
10 is a good choice.
43.
I mean, it's double a 5, and a 5 is solid, so, you know.
5 is good, 10 must be great.
Yeah.
Exponential growth.
So to see how you did, I'm going to roll. Okay. I'm just going to leave that 19. I'm going to let that number just sit there and let you know that you missed it by 9.
Damn it.
As you continue to sneak forward, are you going to go? How far are you going to go? Are you trying to also see and kind of peek around a tree, or are you just trying to get close enough to listen?
Gosh, I do think Jessica would want to get close enough to see.
Okay. So you creep your way up along the path. You stumble a couple times. It's not that it's that steep, it's that it's still under the vegetation. There's some slick spots of the mud where you step on some leaves and your foot slips out a little bit. You're not making a ton of noise, but you make a little bit of noise. But you get up behind one of these big trees, and there's a log that's sort of fallen and this thing fell a long time ago, moss covered, and you're able to kind of creep up to that, and you can peek over, and you see Mouse O'Connor standing sort of next to and off to the side of the a little further in. You can see behind them where in the midst of all of these tall trees there's a large body of water about 100 feet across that's almost glass smooth, some kind of a natural spring, and you see 2 men standing near Mouse, that both their clothing looks like they're wearing like period appropriate working clothes, if that makes sense, like overalls and boots and all that, but they don't look like they've actually done any work. These are not the kind of men who do work. These are the kind of men who in today would get their working clothes from LL Bean.
Like a style boy wearing a fucking Carhartt. Like,
yeah,
yourself, dude. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a Carhartt that doesn't have any wear.
Yep.
But they also have the air of they carry themselves like important people. And you can even see in Mouse's body language that next to these 2 men, you can see how Mouse got her name. She's much smaller than them, and she does seem almost like she's kind of shoulders, head shrunken down a little bit, like she's being deferential toward them. You recognize one of the men right away as Von Van Houten. This is without a doubt the same Von Van Houten you encountered in 1985. The other man has a familiar look about him, and I'm gonna say, just because it's fun, he looks similar to Billy, as you would imagine Billy might look when he's older. So for the purposes of this, this particular Mr. Stapler looks like Ted.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh, there's that fourth wall. All right.
Shattered.
So,
oh my god.
you get a good look at the layout, or the lay of the land, and you see that as they are talking, Von Van Houten walks up to one of the tallest of the trees, and he kind of puts his hand on it, and he's looking up at it, and he's kind of looking around, and Mr. Stapler says, "So what do you think?" And Van Houten says, "I think these are going to work great." We're going to need a lot of them, but we'll leave some so that we can always come back for them. Let them grow. I mean, after all, we'll be around to see them when some of these trees when they mature. But this one and that one will generate a lot of wood. You'll be able to use them for the house you want to build, the town you want to build, we'll have to keep the operation as minimal as possible. Less people that know about it, the better. And that's what our little mouse here is for, right? And you see Mouse kind of shift uncomfortably as she kind of looks up at the trees, almost with a sadness. And Mr. Stapler comes forward and says, "Yes, Ms. O'Connor here will assemble a team of those who will be loyal and will keep their mouths quiet if we make their paychecks a little bit heavier. We'll begin harvesting the giants, and we'll haul them across the lake. We'll build the house first. There are some places in the proposed town that I would like to use some of this wood for as well." And Vaughn says, "Well, these trees are going to require a lot more processing than you can handle across the lake. You don't even have your what did you call it, paradise established yet. We're going to need to take these inland to Grand Rapids. I have the factory and the sawmills, the furniture building facilities to process this lumber, and then we will transport it overland to your new town." And they begin, or rather continue talking for a little bit about these plans. They start getting into more specifics about Mouse mentioning that she knows a good dozen lumberjacks that will be willing to work extra shifts, and that she can divert. She knows how to divert the carts and the men to get the labor of cutting some of these trees. They're going to take them to a past to the far northern tip of Crescent Bay, where they will be loaded onto special ships. And they start talking about what they're going to do to ship these over to Grand Rapids. But the overall plan is clear, that Mr. Stapler and Von Van Houten are cooking up a scheme to take old growth trees off the island and process them into lumber for Stapler to use to build a house and a town. Make a brains check.
Wow.
Jessica.
I love the thought. M's not gonna fail, but if they did, just Jessica sees all this is like, I don't know what any of that means.
What? Jessica's distracted by like.
She's like, there's like a bird over there. It's like, ooh.
9. I actually exploded.
Oh, good. Hell yeah. Good for Jessica.
Okay. So yeah, with that, you're able to, you're reading the situation and you see that Mouse, while working with Mr. Van Houten and Mr. Stapler, and willing to sort of basically do some under the table stuff. You can read in her body language and her facial expressions she's doing so out of some sort of fear, coercion. You're not entirely sure in the moment, but there's an element of it from your connection to her through Amelia that after her father died in an accident on the island and she took over and kind of just started doing this job, there's a part of her that has thought that she would always be here on the island and would someday die on the island in the same way her dad did. But there's a smaller part of her that has always thought there's got to be some way she can get out of here and there's something else out there. And you think with that 9, maybe she's doing this because she sees it as the only way to make some extra money and possibly find a way off this island. Now, as you're having this thought, remember when you rolled a 10 and I rolled a 19?
No, I thought you had forgotten about that. Everything was going so well.
I don't remember it. Chad, do you remember that?
You hear directly behind you. Well. What have we here? Do you turn around?
Who dat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You turn around to see, in similarly dressed in the, what'd you say, Style Boy Carhartt?
Style Boy fucking Carhartt, yeah.
But matching. Victor and Victoria Van Houten.
Ew, no.
15 years old. 16, whatever they... 15, 16 years old, the same age as you remember them. What you see is these sort of 1850s dressed teenage, very blonde, very out of place twins who you recognize.
Oh man, Jessica cannot stop herself from saying, ew, how old are you two?
And you
How long have you been 15?
You actually see...
How long have you been 15?
You actually see the two of them. For a moment, they furrow their brow as they look at each other. Well, I don't know who you are or what you think you're doing, but Daddy's going to want to hear about this. And,
Run, Jessica. Run.
Yeah, so that's what they say. And you see them as Vicky. In fact, you see Vicky go to Victor, just says, I'll tell him. And she just vampire speed moves away. What?
Okay,
are you going to try something? Well, what do you... You have a moment if you're going to try something.
She wants to try and grab Victoria, the one who's running.
Okay.
She wants, yeah, and she's gonna say, "Oh man, what is she gonna say that makes them stop?"
It's like when you accidentally hurt your little brother, and you're like, "No, shh, you're fine, you're fine. Don't tell mom."
Does she know that they want to kill their parents, or is that only something that Laz knows?
No, I believe that was shared. Laz told me, and
I feel pretty confident that was group information.
Yeah, it's not something that Laz would have intentionally kept to himself.
I mean, we can go to the chronicler Tomiko here, but I recall like a scene at the
You're muted, Tomiko.
You're muted, Tomiko.
Where I put the stakes down, saying that we got to kill vampires.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay. So, I actually believe I'll have to go to the notes to back this up, but I think that this is one of the things that Jessica heard when she was listening to the Monday tape, and she heard like M and Jake talking to each other
about that plot point.
Yep.
Mother.
That's right, because I did give
Jesus.
him the ability to ask any question that she would want to know as a player.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah.
What an incredible tidbit, Tomiko, everybody. My God.
The chronicler.
So then I think in that instant, Jessica is going to say the biggest thing to make them stop that she does, and she's going to hiss out. She's like, "Well, I know you two, and I'm here to help you kill your parents," is what she says.
You actually see Victoria. You see her for a moment. She kind of almost goes blurry. Like she's just starting to move quickly. And to your eyes, she didn't move at all. But you see her suddenly make a motion like she's stopping as if she had just been running. She just kind of goes... Who are you and how do you know that?
Oh man, Jessica's sweating.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Yeah. Jessica pauses and I will tell you how I know that. If you help us just get somewhere safe. Get away from here. And get back to well, let's just like get us safe first. Where we can talk.
Make a charm check.
Oh boy.
And
Dude.
there's no advantage. What's your charm die?
D20.
Okay.
Do it, dude.
So I can't give you a bigger charm die.
Add a D4.
Could add a D4.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Add a D4 to your roll.
Yay.
And the D4 will explode per normal.
Hooray! Okay. 18.
Hey, oh.
That's one of the twins.
Yes! Fuck the other one up. Yes! Yes! You're so charming,
So,
bro.
you see...
Thank you for that D4.
You see Victor look at you like... just with this quizzical look, and he's like, I don't even know who you are. And Victoria goes, we're helping them. And Victoria reaches out and scoops you up, and the next thing you know, you are moving at a rapid pace through the forest. And all of a sudden, you see Amelia in the arms of Victor as he's I feel like Laz's or Little Oak's brains would break. This is very much like on foot if you replaced vampires with speeder bikes. It looks like the Luke and Leia zipping through the forest of Endor, as you are suddenly, moments later, you come to a stop, and the trees are much shorter. You're actually looking, you can see through just to the north part of where you are, through the trees, you can see the lake, and you realize you're a little higher up. You are on the sort of northern edge of the island that is all sand dune cliffs. And looking back, you can see some of the taller trees, and you realize you're probably close to a mile away from where you were.
Sweet Jesus.
Oh.
And they set you down, and you see, as you come to a stop, Victor sets Amelia down, and as he does so, you see Victor looking at Amelia with this strange expression. And he just goes, "How did you do that?" As you realize Victor was touching Amelia. So you don't quite know what that means. As Victoria, or Vicky as you know her, turns to you and says, "We're now far enough away that they won't be able to hear us. Who are you, and how do you know this?" And Victor says, "I think I can answer that." As he kind of looks at Amelia, and then you see in his other hand, he's holding the rifle with the silver bullets in it that he must have taken from Amelia, and he hands it back to her.
Oh, this has been a great session for Jessica, I just want to say, because she has not had to explain a single thing, which is great. Because this is Jessica's worst trait, is explaining anything, and she hasn't had to, and it's so good.
Inadvertently, I just Amelia is the dream NPC for Jessica.
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
She gives you a high five and knows everything. It's fine.
So yeah, he says, I think I can explain, and hands her back the rifle, and we just sort of see as the four of you are standing there, and the camera sort of pulls back, and we see that you are about midway-ish between the Valley of the Giants and the cabin and the cavern where everybody else is. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh, boy.
Not a lot happened, but man, did a lot happen.
A lot
Feels like
happened.
it did. It was a doozy of an episode.
God damn.
Lots of setups. Lots of setups.
Yep.
Good times.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I feel right now like I am holding a bottle of lightning, and I'm just trying to crack the jar a little bit and let little bits of stuff out, when all I want to do is just throw this jar on the ground and let you guys deal with it.
That's insane.
But
wow.
What I'm trying to do with this season is I'm going to let you open that jar, because I know you're going to.
No, you. Yep.
Hey, I like pickles, so I will open that jar all the time. Okay.
Well,
Hell yeah.
thank you, everybody. It's good to once again have the whole gang back together, and to be back after missing last week due to travel. We are back at it, and rest assured, Craig and I will be having coffee and talking about what happened and what's going to happen to you all in the future.
Oh my god. Amazing.
Huge thank you to everybody as usual, jumping in with resubs or subs. It's worth it to mention that Monty DL resubbed before we even went live tonight for 56 months. Thank you, Monty DL.
That's a lot of months.
And Lunchbox resubbed for 9 months. Carrie resubbed for 47 months. Almost at that 4-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
And this just in, I'm told there's something happening tomorrow. Jeremy, what's going on tomorrow night on Erasmus Expeditions?
Yeah, tomorrow night we are kicking off a 2-part game for Jumanji All Blown Up. I'm going to be running Never Stop Blowing Up, which is a system that Dimension 20 put out. And we're going to be using it to play in the world of Jumanji as if it were a video game. So, yeah, super excited for that.
I've heard, though I haven't confirmed this, that Never Stop Blowing Up or Don't Stop Blowing Up, whatever it is called, is a hack of Kids on Bikes.
It is.
Cool.
Exciting. I
bet
will.
you there's some pretty cool people playing in that game.
Yeah, I've heard.
There are. Absolutely. 2 of them will be familiar faces, at least.
So that'll be that's Erasmus Expeditions on YouTube. So check that out and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Come on.
What are you doing?
So check that out. Thank you to everybody who joined us in the chat, hanging out. Always good to see those interactions happening. If you're somebody that likes to lurk quietly in the background, or maybe you're watching later on the VOD, know that we appreciate you. We hope you enjoy our games. And we hope to see you next week, but also maybe on Monday at 8:30 for some 7 Dooms for Sandpoint, where you see a couple of the folks here over there, as well as some other wonderful people. They're in the middle of a paint world. What's not to love? An artist created a world that he loves. They're having a good time. Things are wonderful.
No one's gonna die for sure.
Yeah. Why would anybody die? It's all like painted landscapes, and which is true. It is painted landscapes, and no mimics are disguising themselves as paintings or anything like that and almost killing them
anymore.
Anymore.
So, yeah. So do stop by and check that out. Otherwise, a final thank you. As I said, it's wonderful to have everybody back together again. And as we continue with this, telling this story, I just appreciate you all so much and your willingness to go on this adventure. And can't wait to see what kind of a pickle you get yourselves into next week. So thank you, Chad, Tamiko, Carrie, Ted, Jeremy, and Em. Without whom, this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want. Ruby